The phone lay on the grass, its screen a solitary beacon in the encroaching twilight. Reynard stared at it, his world tilting on its axis. The voice on the other end, a ghost he had long since buried, had just resurrected his past. It was Arsila, alive. He could still hear her words echoing in his mind, a frantic, breathless whisper over the crackling line. "Reynard, I'm alive," she had sighed, her voice thin and trembling. He remembered the faint, almost imperceptible cry of a baby in the background, a sound that made no more sense. He had attended her funeral, mourned her loss in the tragic ferry sinking, and rebuilt a monument to her memory. This call was an impossibility, a cruel trick of his grief-stricken mind. Reynard stumbled through the graveyard, a dampers clinging to his expensive shoes, until he reached her tombstone. He fell to his knees, the cold marble unforgiving against his trembling hands. "Where are you, Arsila? Tell me where you are," he sobbed. His voice raw with a desperate, burgeoning hope. The tears streamed down his face, blurring the name etched into the stone, a name that no more longer represented an ending. A frantic energy seized him. He sprinted from the graveyard, pulling out his phone, his fingers fumbling as he dialed his pilot. "Get that chopper ready, now," he barked, his voice commanding and urgent. "Destination, yeah, mallet big, don't ask, just fly." Within the hour, the roar of helicopter blades sliced through the tranquil coastal area. Whipping up sand as it descended near the secluded shoreline. Guided by the scant details from their call, Reynard navigated the unfamiliar village paths until he found it a small, wooden house, barely standing against the sea breeze. He approached with a heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The door creaked open, revealing a silhouette he knew as well as his own. It was Arsila, but she was gone. Her skin pallid and her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and relief. In her arms, she cradled a small, sleeping baby, its face flushed with fever. He stepped inside, the tiny room filled with the scent of salt candy sickness. His gaze shifted from Arsila's haunted face to the infant. "Who?" he started, the question dying on his lip. Arsila explained everything: how she was pulled from the wreckage by fishermen, how she found the orphan baby amidst the chaos, clinging to the breeze. "He named him Reynard," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Because in the darkest moment, your name was the only thing that gave me hope." Tears welled in Reynard's eyes as he looked at the tiny, fragile life. "Let me be his father," he pledged, his voice thick with emotion. "Let me take care of you both." Arsila looked at him, her gaze steady and unwavering. "You can," she said softly, "but on one condition. You stay here, for 1 year. Without your money, without your power, just you." The days that followed were a montage of transformation. Reynard, the corporate titan, learned the rhythm of a simple life. He chewed his credit cards in half, powered down his phone, and traded his designer suits for simple village attire. Slowly, tentatively, Arsila began to trust him, allowing him to hold the baby, to soothe his fevers, to be a father. The first time the baby looked at him and gurgled "Papa," Reynard felt a joy more profound than any business deal. One night, as they sat on the terrace under a blanket of stars, the quiet peace was shattered. The blinding glare of headlights stood through the darkness as a black sedan pulled up to the house. A pale young woman emerged, her expression a mask of remorse as she walked toward them. She stopped before Arsila, her eyes fixed on the sleeping child. "I am his biological mother," she stated, her voice trembling but clear. "I was the one who sank that night." Reynard and Arsila stared, stunned into silence, as the miracle of the baby's survival was suddenly cast in a new, complicated light, their fragile world threatening to crumble once more.